Alright guys, I spent about an hour getting this as close to level as I could. Front to back and end to end were within 5/10 of a degree. Close enough for government work. Anyhow, 300-pound plate. Thanks to Vevor for sending out a magnetic lifting hook. I tell you what, this thing is awesome. It's 660-pound lift capacity. What is that? 300 kilograms. So awesome little thing. Put it in, lock that, lift. If you got to lift a lot of steel, engine hoist, overhead crane, whatever, get yourself one or more of these. If you're using two, don't use a V-bridle. Use a spreader bar. So these are designed to lift straight, not at an angle. So anyhow, we are on, and we're going to go ahead and get it positioned and get it marked out for the hole. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to cut it with the torch or if I'm going to move it onto the mill and mill out the hole for the belts. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, that's right where it's going to sit. Alright guys, I'm going to go figure out how to lift the lathe so I can shift it enough to get a look at where the hole is and figure out where that hole needs to sit. Okay guys, I left a tab right here and right here in order to keep it from binding. Now we know it's all going to get stained with oil with the lathe on here, but let's get it cleaned up just because. And thanks again to Vevor for sending out the magnet for lifting this. Worked good. Okay, 1/2 inch on the front, 1 9/16 on both ends. Alright guys, now I just have to decide how I'm going to fasten this down. I think I'm going to weld it. Just a few tack welds to hold her in place. I think that will be plenty. When we bolt the lathe down, the front bolt should go right through the center of the front support on both ends and through the plate on the back side. So that'll give it a little more oomph, so to speak. So guess the next thing to do is get this tacked in place and then get the lathe over here and mark the holes. The directions, the owner's manual, which I downloaded off the internet, said when setting this lathe up on a bench, not to use a template and not to measure out the holes and mark them. Set the lathe in place, use that as your template to mark your holes, and then move it to the side, drill, put it back in place, and bolt it down. So that's what we're going to do. We're getting close, guys. I'm getting kind of excited. Got to get this in place so we can get the belts measured to get an idea of how long the new belts have to be. So let me get set up and we'll get some welding done. Alright guys, I went ahead and ground the paint off where we're going to weld. And let's see what we can do here. Alright guys, I'm going to take a go-ahead lunch, and when I come back, we will swing the lathe over here, get it mounted. Well, that's where she's going to sit, guys. Cut about 1/4 of an inch. I don't think I can fit the hammer in there. If I had a lathe, I could make one. Here's another little trick you can do. Take your paint marker, make sure you got paint. Yeah, that just pulls right out of the end. Okay, so got to move this enough so we can drill. You know what? If we're going to have to screw it on all the way, might as well go for the nylock. And just be done with it. Actually, no, we're going to go with the way I was planning on doing it originally, which was to put a regular nut on and then back it up with a nylock so everything's double nutted. Much less chance of it coming loose that way. Well, I guess the only thing we have left to do is mount the motor, and this thing will be ready to use once we move it into its new spot and get it all leveled. But that'll be another video. Anyhow, we're going to get the motor mounted and get everything wired up and get it ready to use. Gonna be one of those days, guys. That pretty much puts it pulley right in the center of the hole. Just need to come this way just a hair. Yep, nothing will rub right there. Those belts are pretty worn anyways, but they're going to be a little short. I could probably make them work, but yeah, let's get this welded in first, and then we'll worry about it. Belts are at least an inch too short, and I like them to be right about there, so 5 inches longer, 6 inches longer. Alright guys, got it leveled this way within 5/10 of a degree, and this way at this end we're within 5/10, and at this end we're right on 0. I got to put the toolbox in here and get that loaded up, which is going to change things, and put the chuck on, which is going to change things. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of that stuff done, and we'll check it and see where we are at that point. Much more stable than the old one. That's for sure. Hey, put some light on the subject. Much better. I can see everything now. That might not be a good thing. You guys can see everything, and that's definitely not a good thing. Alright guys, be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, let's get some wiring done here. I have to say, I do like this. I can actually see what I'm doing, and I'm not laying on my back on the floor reaching up here to do it, which is how the old one had to be done. We're not going to be wiring the VFD in yet. Got to get the back panel on here first, which is the next step. I just wanted to get this wired up so it was hidden here behind the back panel, where it's